Okay, so I went to Taylor Swift's 1989 concert in Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, Louisiana last night. And holy cow, it was everything I had imagined it would be, and so much more. Like tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. Taylor, if you ever see this, know that you killed it. All 50,000 of us were on our feet, screaming and singing and cheering and enjoying the whole ride. I posted a picture on Facebook, but I was wearing this shirt with 2 cats on it in honor of Olivia and Meredith. And I bought one of the white shirts with the album art. It has all the concert tour destinations on the back. And I love that Baton Rouge is like the top of the list on one side. Or it's toward the top. I think it's like the 4th or 5th city listed. So it's like, yay! Because not that many concert tours come to Baton Rouge, I'll be honest. Most people stop in Bossier City, and then if you're lucky, they'll also come to Lafayette, New Orleans, or Baton Rouge. I've only been to one other concert, like big concert tour, that stopped anywhere other than Bossier City. For those who aren't from Louisiana, Bossier City is at the farthest northwest corner of the state. Look at a map of Louisiana. Bossier City is way up at the northwest corner. Like, you go much farther north, you're gonna be in Arkansas. You go farther west, much farther west, you'll be in Texas. And you go northwest, actually you'll still be in Texas. But that's, you know, you go south or east, you'll still be in state. But you go much farther north or west from Bossier City, you're gonna cross the state line. And for those of you in larger states, yes, Bossier City is quite a distance from me. It's at least 2, maybe 3 hours driving. So if a concert comes to Lafayette or New Orleans, it's a little easier. That's only an hour and a half. And I drive the route to and from Lafayette all the time because my boyfriend goes to school at UL. And I go to LSU, so I drive out to see him most weekends. Right now it's summer, so he's in town, so yay, but but there were so many emotions from that concert, and I'm not gonna lie, at one point I was crying. My friend Haley went with me to the concert, and she had a blast. We both did, and we both cried at different points. What got me crying, though, was this one song, and more the intro than the song itself, because the song after kind of helped me get over the tears. But Taylor did an introduction to one song that really, really hit home with me. She talked about how if you have a hard time in your life with anything, like you're feeling some sort of pain or trouble or doubt or whatever, you might turn to music for escape or comfort or healing or whatever you need. And that's definitely very true for me. Music has always been a very powerful driving force in my life. It's actually one of the big things that brought my boyfriend and I together. Yeah, my boyfriend is a musician, he's a percussionist, and I was in choir for quite a few years of my life. And even though I'm not anymore, I still sing my heart out at the top of my lungs in the car or in the shower. Unless, I have a roommate on the other side of the bathroom wall who's trying to sleep. Won't have that starting in August, but actually I don't have that now because I'm at my house. But anyway, music, driving force, stay on track. But she talked about how she can definitely attest to pain having made you stronger. Pain making you stronger in your life. And I definitely believe that, especially after the last 2 years that I've been through, because in October, and I've had hardships throughout my life of, people judging me or me not fitting in or being completely outcast from most of the people I went to school with. Just because I always thought differently. And I always acted differently from most people. And I'm not that extraordinary in appearance either. I'm the very typical Caucasian, 5'4", average, probably slightly overweight, body build, brown hair, brown eyes, fair complexion, slightly blotchy, actually. My cheeks have always been kind of red, no matter what I do, even without the makeup and the blush. But, so I was always picked on, and I had a point in my life where everyone who was my friend, except for like 2 or 3 people, decided they didn't want to hang out with me anymore, and that was really the first time I had a serious break. And there was a point where I was wondering if I, was good enough for anybody to love. There have been some serious hardships, but especially the last 2 years, because in October of 2013, my dad was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia. And while having a parent or loved one struggle with dementia or Alzheimer's is gonna be hard for anybody. I had just started my freshman year of college. So, and the way that he got his diagnosis was really hard and really sudden. And out of nowhere, on top of dealing with the fact that, I was in college now, I'm supposed to be this mature adult who knows where she's going in life and what she's going to do to make a living and to survive in the future. And on top of that, I'm having to deal with a parent who doesn't act the way he normally used to, who doesn't always recognize me or my mom anymore, who doesn't necessarily make sense anymore when he talks, who hallucinates visually and audibly. He has visual and auditory hallucinations. So sometimes they'll be talking and won't even be talking to anyone who's in the room. He won't even acknowledge sometimes that my mom or I are even there. And even though I didn't have as close of a relationship and as good of a relationship with my dad as I wanted, I was just starting to get to a point where I was repairing a lot of the damage that had happened in the past and really, really be close with him and suddenly that wasn't an option anymore. And now I am at a point where I've lost him. I've lost the father that I've known for the last 20 years. Sure, he's still alive, but it's not him in there anymore. And I have to face the reality that one day I will lose him again. Hopefully quietly and peacefully, but I really hope that whoever's watching never has to go through that. Losing a parent or a loved one once is hard enough. I really hope you don't have to go through having someone suffer with dementia or Alzheimer's and essentially losing them twice. Because it's hell. But a lot in my life suffered the last 2 years from the combined stress of college and my dad. And I reached a really serious low multiple times. And it's the lowest and the worst that I've ever felt in my life. But outside of that, I was still worrying about how I looked, how I dressed, how I acted, how I thought, how I spoke, whether all of that complied with how I was supposed to do things as a 20-year-old girl. In today's world. And while I've never necessarily complied with ideas of the ideal body type, because it's really stupid. You can't have one body type that fits everybody, because everyone's body is different. But I would still be very concerned about what people would think about every single word that came out of my mouth or every single action that I did. And it got to a point where it was really, really ridiculous. Like, I was sitting there trying to constantly please other people and putting everyone ahead of myself, when there are situations where I really did need to think of myself first. And so I went through a lot in a single year, and then Taylor Swift released 1989. And I will say that a lot of me healing started and happened because of my mom and my boyfriend. And my friends too. But the main two supports that I've had have been my boyfriend and my mom. And I thank God every day that I have them. But the final stretch was and still is happening, and I don't know how long it'll take before I really am finally completely free of this hole that I fell into. But when Taylor released 1989 and I listened to the music on it the first time and started really, really paying more attention to her. I paid a lot of attention to her. I've followed her career from album 1. And she's actually one of the only artists out there whose career I've followed that closely for that long. I have all 5 albums, although I need to go hunt down a deluxe edition of 1989 for those extra songs. It's probably the first album of hers that I didn't get a hard copy of, but I'm going to get one. But when that album was released, it really helped me see things a little differently. Because a lot of the songs hit home. A lot of the lyrics hit really hard. And I started thinking in the last 7 months that, Taylor's rethinking a lot. She's starting over fresh with her music and with a lot of things in her life, and maybe I should do the same. So it started with me realizing and affirming that I can't constantly do things for others before I do things for myself, because I'm never going to truly be happy. Sure, everyone else will be, but I won't be. And I especially can't constantly worry about negative criticism from others, especially random strangers. So, my New Year's resolution this year was to confidently and bravely and boldly say or do anything I wanted, where, when, and how I wanted, without giving a care or batting an eyelash at any negative criticism from anyone, even some of my closest friends. I've learned the hard way the last 2 years that it's much better to go with my gut instincts and with what I feel is right for me. So, since New Year's Day and my resolution, things have been better. Although I still hit quite a low this semester with my classes. This semester was the worst I've done. So I'm taking a break. Not just for the summer, but next semester too. I'm only taking 1 class, so that I can take more time to heal and change gears and really rethink how I approach the rest of my life. I'm at a point where I'm not caring about other people's negative criticism, but I'm still dwelling too much on the past and worrying too much about the future and not living enough for here and now. So that's the next step. I'm taking a break from classes. I'm cutting ties and ending Facebook friendships with anyone who I haven't spoken to in years or was never really a healthy, helpful part of my life. You know, there are people that I went to school with years ago who I haven't spoken to since graduation day. Since the day I graduated from Most Blessed. There are people that I have not spoken to that are friends with me from high school that I never spoke to once in the 4 years that I walked those halls at St. Joseph's. And there are people whom I haven't spoken to since I graduated from high school. I'm narrowing it down to the people who really care and really matter. And I'm taking a break to think about myself and to focus on me, my best friends, my boyfriend, and my family. I'm focusing on what I want to do and need to do. Not what I'm supposed to believe, or supposed to do, or should do. Because if you're constantly living like that, you're not really gonna be happy. I've finally reached, in these last 5-6 months, I've finally reached a point where I am completely comfortable in my own skin. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm getting all deep and crying on y'all. I finally reached a point where I am completely comfortable in my own skin, and my own mind, and my own personality. As the song goes, I think I'm finally clean. I'm gonna be me. I don't care what anyone else says or thinks. And I'm gonna put myself out there for anyone to see and hear. If you don't like what I have to say or what I'm doing, I don't care. You don't have to pay any attention to me. You can move on with your life. And for anyone watching, thank you for watching, for taking a little time out of your day to listen to me ramble on and cry and sniffle and be all emotional. I've always been emotional. If you know me, you know that I've always worn my heart on my sleeve. And even though there was a time where I thought wearing my heart on my sleeve and being emotional and crying about things that aren't as serious for other people was a bad thing, I realize it's not. It's just who I am. And I'm not going to change that. I'm not going to try to force myself to be different. So, now that I'm finally comfortable with myself, I need to be comfortable with where I am. And just start realizing what I need to do now, as opposed to what I should have done in the past, or what I need to do, or where I'm going to be in the future. I'm going to take life one day, one step, one thing at a time. And hopefully I'll be a little better off. So, with that, I'm gonna thank my mom for always being there, for always having my back, taking my side, even though I have made so many mistakes, and I feel like I haven't always been there for you. I love you to death, and I thank God that you are my mom. Because you're perfect. I always tell my mom that she's a steel magnolia. She's a strong, brave, caring Southern woman. I don't ever want anything about her to change. Andres, the love of my life, thank you so much for loving me and putting up with me for the last year and 11 months as of today, actually. I can't wait for our anniversary a month from now, and I can't wait for the years to come. And I really pray that you and I get to spend the rest of our lives together. All my best friends, you know who you are. I don't want to name names because I might leave somebody out by accident, but all of you, thank you for making me laugh, making me cry, for putting up with and being okay with the person I am, and never asking me to change. Even one little thing. My family. Thank you for coming to the support and the aid of my mom and I when we really needed you most. You guys are awesome. All of you are. I love you all so much, and I should probably stop rambling and crying now, so before I go, there's one more thing. I started this video talking about the concert in 1989 and Taylor Swift, because she has definitely been a serious role model and influence and part of this. I have all these amazing people around me, and somehow I feel like, even though I've never met her in person, and she's never met me, and probably will never see this video. God, if she did, I would probably be crying inside from joy and excitement. But even though I've never met her, I feel like somehow by putting out 1989, Taylor has been there for me too. Cheering me on and comforting me and trying to help me see the things that I've realized. So, thank you, Taylor Swift, for being who you are and inspiring so many people, and inspiring me, for doing what you do. Oh god, this is probably the corniest, cheesiest, deepest fan-made video ever. Alright, I'm gonna stop rambling and crying now. I love you all. Thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with me. Love you all.